Eala looks at bright side despite opening round losses in Australian Open. Manila, Philippines. In her Australian Open debut, Eala showed she is no longer just a rising star but a marquee draw, commanding the spotlight even in heartbreaking early-round losses. Eala capped her first-ever Australian Open main draw appearance after bowing out in the doubles event alongside Brazilian partner Ingrid Martins after a 7-6, 2-6, 6-3 defeat to Japan's Shuko Ami and Poland's Magda Linette on Tuesday, January 20th. This comes after her gutsy stand in the singles that ended in a 0-6, 6-3, 6-2 loss to American Alicia Parks the day prior. "It's only normal that with a loss comes disappointment and being upset," she said. "But then again, it's another opportunity for me to take and learn and grow as a player." Eala and her Martins failed to preserve an early 4-0 lead in the first set, succumbing in the final few games as AMI and Linette stole the lead. They pulled level by taking the second set before a back-and-forth third set proved fatal in the Filipinas Australian Open run. Trailing 3-4, Eala and Martins faded as AMI and Linette took over from there, silencing the Filipinas' fiery Melbourne run that had been powered by a massive Filipino crowd. "It was so heartwarming, and I think that's one of the things that makes a loss like today a little bit harder is that I know a lot of people were rooting for me," Eala said after her loss to Parks. "I just hope that this support continues with the losses along with the wins. I think that would really touch me. But then again, just the fact that everyone came out and really squeezed into that cozy court, I really appreciated it," she added. Eala's run was fueled by deafening cheers, a rarity in tennis, loud enough to draw warnings from tournament officials mid-match. During Eala's singles opener, fans who were not able to enter the bleachers settled outside the court to watch a match unfold on the big screens. Her practices before the tournament were also packed. The 20-year-old sensation admitted it got a little overwhelming at times. "I think this week was definitely. There were elements that were a bit overwhelming, especially during my practices," she said. "I didn't expect that many people to be there. So, it's a learning process, like everything is part of the learning process. The trainings are part of a learning process. So, I'm just trying to take it in. I'm still young, 20, so I'm learning how to deal with all of this attention, but then, at the same time, being grateful." Now that her Grand Slam run has ended, Eala is expected to fly back to Manila to compete in the Philippine Women's Open, the country's first ever WTA 125 event to be held from January 26 to 31st at the Rizal Memorial Tennis Center. As a wildcard, the tournament will also see some of the top tennis players in the country, along with world-ranked athletes. "I'm happy that it's finally coming together. It's really happening. It's a dream to have a home tournament, and just the WTA stage in general. I think it's a huge step for tennis in the Philippines and women's tennis," she said. "I'm so happy that it'll bring a lot of inspiration and a lot of motivation for the girls back home." The Australian Open begins each year beneath a merciless sun, where the courts gleam blue like polished glass and every bounce seems to echo with possibility. For many, it is a place of coronations and legends. For others, it is a classroom, stained, public, and unforgettable. Eala, stepping onto those courts and facing opening round losses, has learned to see it as the latter. And in doing so, she has chosen growth over grief, light over shadow. Loss, especially at the first hurdle, has a way of magnifying doubt. It whispers questions athletes would rather not hear. Am I ready? Do I belong here? For a young player carrying the hopes of a nation that has long waited for a tennis star to call its own, those whispers can become a chorus. Yet Eala, grounded in a perspective far older than her years, listens differently. She hears not condemnation but instruction. Her journey to Melbourne is already a testament to resilience. From the humid courts of the Philippines to elite academies abroad, Eala's path has never been paved with ease. Each tournament entered, each qualifying draw navigated, is a reminder that progress in tennis is rarely linear. The Australian Open, with its unforgiving draws and world-class opponents, simply sharpens that lesson. An opening round loss can feel like a door slammed shut, but Eala treats it more like a window, one that opens inward. She studies the match not for what went wrong, but for what it revealed. Was her footwork half a step late? Did the save lack variety under pressure? Did nerves steal rhythm at crucial points? These are not failures to her. They are notes scribbled in the margins of a much longer story. There is a quiet courage in choosing optimism when circumstances invite despair. After a first-round exit, The locker room is quieter, the walk back slower. The headlines move on. Yet Eala remains, steady in her belief that tennis careers are marathons disguised as sprints. One tournament does not define a player, it refines one. The bright side, she often suggests through her actions, is opportunity. Every match at a Grand Slam, even a brief one, offers exposure to the highest level of the sport. The pace is faster, the margins thinner, the mental battles fiercer. These are experiences that cannot be simulated on practice courts. They must be lived. And once lived, they become tools. Eala's optimism is not naive. It is disciplined. She allows herself disappointment, because caring deeply demands it. But she does not dwell there. Instead, she reframes. An early loss becomes proof that she is competing where she belongs. It confirms that her name is on the draw sheet, her flag beside it. For a Filipino athlete in a sport dominated by traditional powerhouses, that alone is progress worth honoring. Beyond technique and tactics, there is identity. Eala plays not only for rankings or trophies, but for representation. Each appearance at the Australian Open signals to young players back home that the path is real, that the courts they practice on, cracked and sun-worn, can still lead to Melbourne. In that sense, even a loss carries meaning. What stands out most is her patience. In an era that demands instant success, Eala embraces the slow burn. She understands that confidence is built layer by layer, through losses analyzed honestly and wins celebrated humbly. The Australian Open may not yet have delivered her a breakthrough run, but it has given her something just as valuable: clarity. She speaks through her preparation rather than proclamations. After defeat, she returns to training with renewed focus, not frantic urgency. The bright side is work, the kind that compounds over time, the kind that turns early exits into future endurance. There is also gratitude in her outlook. To compete on the sport's biggest stages is a privilege she does not take lightly. She absorbs the atmosphere, the crowds, the feeling of standing across the net from players she once watched on television. These moments, fleeting as they are, fuel ambition rather than diminish it.